I've been falling all my life, and people wonder why I'm down to earth.
This is Adversity University.
If you waiting for somebody to feel sorry for you, then you failed already.
Success is best to those who've been grounded first.
Cause ain't nobody gonna feel sorry for you.
Now what are you willing to do?
The only thing that separates a winner from a loser is perseverance.
And this is Adversity University.
Welcome to Adversity University. I am your host, Cody Martin, aka Cody Motivation. Here with me is my friend again and colleague, Miss Kim P. Kim, how you doing today?
How y'all doing? I'm doing good.
All right, good. Okay, so like I say, the art of growing through anxiety. So for the past few weeks, if you knew, to watching us, we've been going. We've been dropping a few episodes of growing through anxiety with different subtitles rather. And today we'll be talking about building resilience and coping strategies, right? So again, we're talking about the art of growing through anxiety. We've been getting a lot of good feedback. A lot of people are speaking to the fact that what we're speaking to and what we're speaking about, they can actually relate to. A lot of individuals are going through anxiety. Different aspects of anxiety. It don't show up the same in everybody, right? Everybody don't necessarily experience the same exact thing, but there are some similarities as it relates to, anxiety. So we've been getting, quite a bit of questions, right, about excuse me, I was trying to get the stuff together, but we've been getting a lot of questions about people want to know certain things about how to cope, right? How to push through, which is, associated with resilience.
Mm-hmm.
And we want to speak to it a little bit. We do have some questions that we received that we'll be touching on a few today. But next week, we actually, all of the questions that we received and that we got and gathered and compiled, we will be answering all those questions on next week as it relates to growing through anxiety. So if anybody got any questions that they want us to speak to, any topics that they want us to speak to, please drop it in the comments, drop it in the chat. If you're on YouTube, I ain't on Facebook right now because they done suspend my account. That's messed up. But any other platform, LinkedIn, Instagram, put a comment, any topics, any questions that you have about, anxiety as it relates to yourself, how to deal with it with your friends, family, peers, colleagues, all that. We could be able to speak to a lot of those things. But yeah, we here. So welcome back, Kim. How has your week been so far? What about your weekend? What about your weekend? The beginning of your week? This hump day. So where we at with it?
My week has been pretty good. My child is on spring break, so mentally I'm on spring break with her.
Okay.
We've been doing little things around. She said she didn't want to do anything big, but honestly, we've been laying around the house, watching movies, catching up, gossiping, laughing. And we took her out Saturday. It was good. Even went to a cookout. It was really, everything's been real smooth. So
Good.
no complaints. No complaints.
Good. Yep.
How about you?
It's been challenging to say the least. It's been a good weekend, but with good things, there's also, you gotta have yin and yang, right? With good,
Right.
There's some bad that go along with it. But it's just, right now I've experienced I've experienced two loss, family loss, and that's it's difficult. You know what I'm saying? Just to be honest, it's not easy to deal with. It's not easy to push through. But in life, we got to learn how to, take the good with the bad and try to balance that out. And balancing things out like that, that's why it's always good to have accountability partners, because not only do your accountability partners hold you accountable for what you say you want to do, but they should also be there to hold you accountable for being a person that they know you can be in difficult situations. And I think that I got a great team around me of people that I can speak to that'll help lift me up. Oftentimes when we're in these spaces, we feel like, nobody's helping us, nobody care about what we're going through. and we kind of get in our feelings. We soak in it. We sit in it until you actually speak to the people that actually help you see things different, and that means a lot. So, I mean that's pretty much it. But outside of the loss, it's been a real good weekend, sport weekend, spending time with my daughters, just kind of getting them ramped up to doing something different, and it's fun watching them. So, I love being a dad. That's one of the best. That is the best job that I have. So, yeah. So that's kind of how my weekend went, my week went, and I'm I'm pushing through it all. You know what I'm saying? Just steady moving.
Well, my condolences, man. That's not an easy thing. And you said something about balance, and sometimes it's balancing knowing that you don't have to pick it up right now. If you don't have the capacity for it, you don't have to pick it up right now. You don't have to deal or push through anything right now. It's okay to kind of sit and see how you feel or wait for your emotions. You don't have to have an immediate emotion about things. And you don't have to be geared up to push through it. You can sit in it, or you can say, I don't have the capacity to go there right now.
Right.
And that's okay too.
Right. Yeah. I appreciate that. All right. So let's get into it. So let's talk anxiety, right? So I did before we get into the topics that we're gonna get into. Well, let me tell y'all the topics we're gonna get into. We're gonna talk about building resilience in the face of anxiety. We're gonna talk about coping strategies and managing anxiety attacks, and we also go discuss just the role and support systems as it relates to just therapy and coping as a whole. So, but just on the topic of anxiety, man, I was just telling you about how I've spent the weekend with my daughters and just sports, right? So, it's a lot of things different, and because this is a new sport that they're playing, well, it's track, right? So it's like, okay, well, they never did it before. This is their first time on the track. It's their first time running. They don't know any techniques. They don't know this. They don't know that. And so, because I was a track runner, right, from the age of 5 all the way, up until college, you see all of the things that they need to work on, and you hope that they got it right off rip, but it's not always like that. And also, you look at your kids and you think that your kids are going to be you, right? And that ain't really the case. So me and other parents was talking, and I'm seeing like, okay, well, they're not me, right? They're their own version of me, right? They got skills, they're talented as I don't know what, but they might be talented in different areas than I was, and it's cool to just watch. But the anxiety, man, it be driving me crazy. Hey, listen, I'll be at practice, I'll be in the stands, I'll be about to go crazy, but it's really, really, really fun, man. But parents have a lot of anxiety too, because it was other parents saying the same thing. Like they look at their kid, they see one thing, the coaches see a whole nother thing, and then it's like, okay, I gotta be adult enough to sit back and just let them do their job, and we just sit back and do our job, which is be parents and encourage our kids. So,
my challenge is knowing the difference in being supportive and then taking control. So when my daughter has like projects to come home, I just be in the back like, you should. Because she sat down and told me, she's like, I want to do this on my own so she could feel proud, and sometimes it's just like, well, let me try, so I have to know the difference as a parent from, controlling the situation. I was controlling and then stepping back and supporting. Like we're getting to that age now where I can kind of step behind her or step beside her a little bit and kind of guide her that way. She may not need that much support in certain areas as she used to. So we make a joke, like whenever she said one time, she's like, I don't need you right there, Mom. And I was like, what? Girl, Cody, hurt my heart from the bottom. I'm telling you, my soul just left. So what she does, she's like, Mom, I need you too. And it's a joke. She's like, da, 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 da. And I come in there with my fake Supermom cake, like, da, da, da. And she's like, Supermom. And she'll ask me a question, but low key, I'll be so proud of those moments. I'll be coming Clap. Just out. Like, you need me? I'm here. So it's also just growing with her and noticing, like, okay, she needs to be supported in this area. She no longer needs me to do. So just having emotional intelligence to deal with that and crying about it later.
Right. Now that's a good segue as far as building resilience, right? Because a lot of times the kids, they have anxiety about certain things, and we have anxiety about certain things for them, and we push our anxiety on them, which get them nervous and anxious about everything. So it's like we need to chill. You know what I'm saying? As parents, sometimes we just need to chill and let them be, because we ain't gonna be there every time and every step of the way for them. They're gonna have to know how to handle certain things, you know what I'm saying, and push through it without the advice and the extra push from us, you know?
And that's a lot of times how things are passed down from generation to generation. Unknowingly, we cope. Our kids see how we cope with things and deal with things, and they pick those same coping skills up. But the difference is now, I know we hear a lot about gentle parenting and things like that, and to each his own. But if anything that I'll take away from this is you have to have a conversation, talk, and don't be afraid to be human. I think in certain eras, we didn't see our parents be human. We didn't understand that. And when we did, we're so far removed from it where it kind of broke our relationship, because how dare our parents be human, right? But I'm not afraid to let my daughter see me be a human. I'm not afraid to say, listen, mommy's having a bad day. I'm just having I need a hug. But because just as much as she sees me or express to her that I'm having a bad day, she also sees me get up the next day and have a good day, or bounce back in the next hour or so, showing her resilience on how to handle emotions. She's going to feel it is okay to let her feel these emotions, because she also has examples of when she saw people around her go through it and come out on the other side of it. So there's no fear behind that, right? I feel bad right now, but I know later today or tomorrow, I'll be okay. And that's okay to let her see that. And then also, like, you know what? I did that wrong. I made a mistake. So mommy would like to apologize, because that helps her see that she, no matter what age, you can be accountable. Be accountable. So yeah. Yeah,
and that's what we, my wife and I, that's how we teach our kids. Like, listen, like, just own up to it. If you did something, don't sit there and act like you don't know, or you give me some type of excuse. Just own up to it, accountability, and then we can like work through it. And that's teaching them accountability, right? And it's teaching them how to, accept. I ain't gonna say failure because I hate that word, but accept hardship, right? And be able to overcome it in a way that they know it's not gonna be detrimental to them. Right. It's going to be something that, okay, well, these type things happen, bad things happen, but we got to be able to keep going. And the example that you use, right, you leading by example. And that's the best way to lead, because although all of our words matter, what you do matter even more, because what they say when we was growing up, actions speak louder than words. So the kids, what they see, they hear louder than what you say. You know what I'm saying? So imagine if you speak in life, right, and you're actually living life how you're supposed to. Imagine what you're actually giving your kid. Everything ain't about words. Everything is more so about actions and how you do things, because how they view things is how they will do things. So they got to see that example of positivity and resilience to be able to know how to push forward.
How many of us go into adult situations with the childlike mindset from when we saw and understood certain things? Some of us go into our relationships and experience extreme anxiety because at a point of our childhood, we understood love to be this, or relationships to be this. So we still show up from the perspective of our childhood sometimes in adult situations. Right? So yeah, we have to challenge those things.
Absolutely. And, and to stay there, just the whole topic of therapy period is really peeling back the layers of your childhood, right? Because you gotta process your past to be able to manage your present and to be able to focus on your future. Like, that's just the process of life. And if we understand that, then we'll we'll take all those necessary steps to do that. Like once people realize how valuable it is to process your past. See, some of our past is so traumatic that we don't want to think about it no more. We don't want to relive that stuff. We don't want to engage in that. But if we are strong enough to get over that hump, we'll connect the dots to what's going on right now, which will connect the dots on how you can be better in the future. And that's really like what it's about. So I just lost my train of thought of what I was just saying, but again, you got to process the past to manage your present to be able to focus on the future. And that's what life is really about. And the whole the therapeutic aspect of what we're doing. So I encourage everybody to, really like dig into your youth, right? You know what I'm saying?
I think we need to, I guess the key thing is it's all about balance, right?
Yeah.
I think you need to have an equal healthy, a healthy balance of your past, your present, and your future. A lot of times we're not balanced. We're too far in the future, and we're not in the present. And then some of us is too far in our past, preventing us from being present and thinking about our future. Those are things.
You said it. People are too much in the future, but it's not their future. They have these goals. They have these dreams, not goals, because they don't got. It's not really, planned out. Failure to plan is a plan to fail. But a lot of people have these dreams, and that's all they look at. That's all they focus on, right? And they don't have an actual plan for those actual dreams. They're looking at social media and what's going on now, and they're looking at everybody else's future. They're looking at everybody else's fake presence. They're looking at all that, and they're forgetting about themselves. And they want to live up to how everybody else is living. They want to, hold themselves up in such high regards that they think other people are holding them in, which ain't nobody really studying you, because those same people you think watching other people too.
Right. I had someone tell me, and it speaks to what you were talking about. He brought a Range Rover, right? He was so excited. He would go and remember we talked about last time visualization. He would go touch it, and he just couldn't wait. And then finally he brought it, paid for it in full, brought it, and he loved it. But he was so focused on that vision, that goal, that he had nowhere to put it. Then he brought it home. He realized, like, I'm gonna need to put it in the garage. So then he had to build a garage. He had to make room for it. He was just so focused on getting it, he didn't make provision for it. You know what I mean? That's a lot of times where we sometimes pick these cookie cutter goals, right? Yeah, I want to be married by this time, and you have to make this relationship go by this time or this way, or I want to have this job. We set our lives on society's time, but we don't make provision for our life, like for us to get there and what it will look like. And you will make room for your life. Whether or not you get it the first round or not, you will make room for it.
Yeah. And we got to get out the rat race, man, and stop looking at everybody else's world and trying to live that, and just kind of run your race. Like, stay in your lane, run your pace, right? It's a marathon. It's never a sprint. So just you got to get in shape, right? That means repetition. That means you got to do things. That means you got to focus. That means you got to focus on yourself. That means you got to set goals. And doing all those things, you will, be successful. I just wish that everybody can stop minding everybody else's business and mind the business that pay them and focus on their family. You know what I'm saying? Because if you focus on yourself from a mental and emotional standpoint, you focus on your family from a mental and emotional standpoint, you will clearly be able to identify the deficit you are in as it relates to your financial situation. Like, people want to jump to the financial situation with a cluttered mind, and they burning through money, they mismanaging money, they going broke, they don't know where the money going. It's all because your mind is cluttered and you're stressed and you're overwhelmed and you're depressed, and now you're spending to make you happy, you're buying things to make you happy, you're going on trips, you're driving around town wasting gas, all that stuff add up. And then people, they don't pay attention to their finances, and they look at, when they finally do, they see that, well, damn, I'm broke. Where did the money go? I made all this money, where did it go?
With anxiety, we make decision based off of tunnel vision, right? We see this is the immediate need. I need this. I'm about to lose my, get kicked out. I can't pay rent. I got to do this, right? So let me go to a checking loan place and the interest is higher, right? So you're going to actually be paying more. But all you can think of, I got to pay my rent tomorrow. I need something to pay my rent tomorrow. And it's tunnel vision. And we understand the finances is tough out there. But I'm just using that as an example as people make decisions, tunnel vision, only focusing on this problem. But when you take anxiety away, it opens up and see the whole big picture so that you can make a decision, a rational decision that makes more sense. To bring it down a notch, you could say, okay, I'm saving, but when we get this money, Fashion Nova will pop up, or one of your favorite websites will pop up. You see your shoes, and you got it. We get into that lack mode. I gotta have it now. I need these shoes now. I need this now because I'm in lack, right? If I get this will be better. If I get that, but it's not. Because once you get the shoes, and what? They're gonna go in the closet with everything else.
Right.
Versus you saving and working towards a goal. So make things out of tunnel vision. Make decisions.
So man, listen. So I want to get to this next topic of just coping strategies and managing anxiety attacks, because we speak a lot about anxiety, how to grow through it, but we don't necessarily speak to how to manage actual anxiety attacks, because a lot of people that's viewing this, a lot of people that's under the sound of our voice, they not only experience anxiety themselves, but they also experience anxiety attacks. So it's kind of like, how do they, for the folks that have those issues and experience those things, how do these individuals actually manage anxiety attacks, and what are some coping strategies that these people can work on while experiencing anxiety and while experiencing anxiety attacks?
Okay, so anxiety attacks is, it's an intense fear when you're triggered, like a tense emotion. Sometimes you may feel like you are out of control, it may feel like you may die. And you're going to have you could have physical symptoms, right? The first thing I'm going to back up and say, we are not in a therapy session, so I will not go as in detail. Right. Follow up with your doctor if you are having panic attacks. If you're having those, please follow up with your doctor. Medication may be a route, and then it may not. Depends. Follow up with your doctor, and then get a therapist so that you can work on your triggers. So to say that with panic attacks, you gotta study yourself. Find your triggers. First of all, identify your physical symptoms that you're experiencing leading up. Sweaty palms, heart palpitations. It may feel like you're losing your breath. Any of those, you want to figure out what is the physical, how does my body change leading up to this? How long does it last? What environment was I in when I started to feel triggered? What situation, what was going on around me as I started to feel triggered? Learn yourself. That way, when you talking to your therapist, you guys can narrow it down and identify your triggers, and you can feel your body change, and you can do things that regulate before you get into that situation to prepare yourself. The thing about it is, what brings it on onset is if you continue to worry about it in between. When is your next one? When you extremely worry and ruminate over the next. So if you, for instance, you have most of your panic attacks when you are going shopping in a high crowd situation, it may be as simple as adjusting it once you've learned your triggers and how your body responds. It may be going and adjusting your time when you go shopping. And then with a friend, try to slowly expose yourself and go, okay, I'm gonna go in the afternoon instead of 6 o'clock in the morning to Walmart or to Target, right? And go with a friend. And even if you can stay in there 5 minutes, you went and slowly expose yourself with a therapist, guiding you through that. And, maybe you can have a friend that go with you physically to kind of help expose you to some of those symptoms with using some of those situations that's going to trigger you while using some of the techniques that they use. You're going to have to also use cognitive reinforcement. You're going to have to change the way you think about the situation. Change the way you think about your anxiety attack or your panic attack. by looking at it in a rational state of mind. But before you can do that, you have to educate yourself on what panic attack is and what it looks like on you. That way you are disarming it, because you're living in this whole what if. You don't know when, how you trigger, and you know it just happens. But if you disarm it by educating yourself and learning you in that season, then it'll kind of take the thread off a little bit and you'll understand it. That way you can kind of work towards kind of bringing some of the panic attacks down, lessening.
Right. That's good stuff. I love just the education portion of this. As you was talking, I couldn't help but it's kind of off topic. Well, it's not, it's on topic, but I saw a post today and Method Man was talking about dealing with anxiety, like for forever, right? For a while, he's always been dealing with. I'm not anxiety. He didn't say anxiety. My bad. He said depression. That's why I said it was off topic, because it ain't got nothing to do with anxiety. But I mean, depression and anxiety are cousins, people. So keep that in mind. But he was just talking about just expressing and explaining, like, you know, the symptoms. Like he know when it's coming on because he's been doing it forever, which brought me to talk about just being aware. Because you were saying identify like those triggers and things like that. It's important for us to be self-aware so that we can know what goes on with us. For example, I deal with depression myself, seasonal depression. So I know exactly when it's about to hit and I can feel when it's about to hit. So sometimes I isolate myself out of selflessness, right? Because I don't want to push my negativity or what I'm feeling on everybody else. Sometimes it might be received as selfish, but because I'm self-aware and I know what can possibly happen out of me being in this space, you know, I kind of isolate myself till I gather myself and I start engaging with people. So it's just kind of similar to what Kim was just speaking to, you know, as it relates to identifying your triggers and kind of what's going on with you. Because once you're aware and you know if this thing is like ongoing, number one, you need to get it addressed. Go talk to an actual therapist, get you an assessment, you know, and see what's going on. Like you say, maybe you need some medication, maybe you don't need any medication. But the fact is, you need to know what's going on with you and how to deal with those things, because how you're feeling can affect everybody around you if you're not aware. And sometimes we are aware, but we just ignore the things that we actually are aware of, thinking that if we ignore it, everybody else will. And that ain't the case. Everybody else is going to close their mouth, but they see it, right? So be aware of what you're going through. Definitely, if these feelings, whether it's anxiety or depression, if it's a prolonged thing for you, especially after listening to us, if you said, man, you know what, I go through the same thing, pick up the phone, you know, go to these platforms. It's a million of them.
So these anxiety, panic attacks, depression, those are the things that will cause you to kind of withdraw a little bit. Like especially attacks, you want to go within, you want to be in your safe space, stay in a bubble. But what that does is it prevents you from opening your mouth and talking. Right. You're not alone in this. There are a lot of people that go through this. The difference is you have to open your mouth and communicate it, right? To get the help that you need. And then there comes education. Once you say, hey, this is what I think I'm feeling, these are some of the symptoms, then you can work on educating yourself and learning yourself while in these situations. And then you can use the tools that best work for you in a situation. Some mindfulness, becoming grounded may work for one, but a distracting mechanism or coping skill may work for someone else. But again, it's all about learning you. And you first have to open your mouth and communicate. This is what I'm going through. And then we have to educate, find our whys. Why do we do this? So we can put it in its rightful place. You can go to Therapy for Black Girls is a great one. Black mental health female therapist. Therapy for Black men, I think they're wrapping up on the last session, but there is also Psychology Today where you enter in your zip code. There are people, we are standing in the gap to let you know in representation, right? Letting you know we understand and we're there for you. This is our area, we're here to help, but you have to take that first step. And that first step is saying, hey, I could be going through this, or I could be transitioning. Things are changing and looking a little different, and I could use a little support. And we're right here, but you have to take that first step.
Absolutely. No, good. I appreciate that, Kim. Thank you for that. So I did want to segue because we're talking about managing anxiety attacks and things like that, and just being aware to be able to identify triggers. But I definitely want to just briefly just talk about coping strategies, right? Because if you dealing with anxiety, you need to know how to cope with anxiety, and you need to, if you have actual anxiety attacks, you need to know how to cope with having those things. Because a lot of times people have these. Guilt was the first word that came to my mind, but I don't think that's the word I want to say. But they have these feelings of it's an insecurity that they deal with these things, right? They deal with anxiety, or they have actual panic attacks, which will cause them to isolate and not be around people because they don't want people to know those things. So how do these individuals that are experiencing these types of feelings cope with the fact that they have anxiety or they have anxiety attacks? What are some coping strategies that we can one that kind of
Go ahead.
One that kind of came to my mind as far as coping strategies, it's not necessarily one, but it's kind of just doing the things that you're used to doing that make you happy, right? Like that's one of the ways to actually cope with a lot of things, right? Just identify what makes you happy. I don't care if it's music, if it's playing golf, if it's going jogging, if it's writing, if it's making music, whatever it is. If it makes you happy, lean towards that so that you can be able to cope through whatever it is that you're going through. In my experience, when I'm going through things, how I cope with things, one of my coping strategies is writing, right, and being creative, right, whatever that means, whether I'm writing a song, whether I'm writing a poem, whether I'm writing a letter, whether I'm doing graphic design, whether I'm creating a course, whatever it is, that's how I cope with a lot of things that I'm going through, because the creative side of me, it just kicks in, and when it kick in high gear.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But those are some of my coping strategies, like even working out. You might want to hop on a Peloton, you might want to go lift some weights, you might want to hit the punching bag, right? If those are some of the things that allow you to cope, do those things, because once you're feeling a way and the thing that make you happy, you move towards that and you execute that for 30 minutes or so, an hour, you feel better, right? And if you feel better, you know what I'm saying, you kind of get into that point where you level out. You don't want to be off balance. You want to level yourself out. So the best way to level yourself out is to move towards happiness. So identify what makes you happy and go that way. So
right. I would say with anxiety, you hit on a lot of good points, and that's what I was going to recommend. But again, with just generalized anxiety, again, I'm going to be the therapist. I'm going to say, identify the trigger. Yep. What is that fear that keeps coming up in every single decision or situation? What keeps coming up? Identify that trigger so you can disarm the boogeyman a little bit, and you can know, okay, this is what this is, and I can figure out or be on my way to figure out how to put this back in its correct place, right? Because what happens is it's a boogeyman, and it's behind every situation, so it looks different. But once you disarm it, you realize, okay, that's what that is. That's how that's showing up. I can put it back in its place. So find the trigger, find your why first. Also, the biggest thing that will help us get to learning how to cope and managing these skills is you have to be intentional. I could say, hey, exercising is good because, it releases the endorphins to kind of reduce anxiety. It's going to help, right? But you have to be intentional about doing that. Right. So here's the thing. You have gotten in the habit of operating without thinking. You operate out of your trigger or through anxiety. Is like writing with your dominant hand. But the more you are intentional about thinking outside of that anxiety or pushing past that fear, then that will help you with being mindful of like, okay, this is how I'm feeling right now. You don't have to change it, but this is how I'm feeling. Help you communicate with yourself, right? But you have to set intention, be intention. Block your schedule, because that will help you become intentional and do the things and be mindful, right? But getting into some of the important things, look at your defense mechanisms or look at your survival mechanisms, what you may call them. I call them defense mechanisms. So for instance, if I people please, why do I people please? After figuring out that trigger, why does this trigger cause me to people please, right? Or why do I shut down? Why do I withdraw? Why do I lash out, right? Go to your defense mechanisms and then disarm those first, right? So instead of me lashing out, what I can do is sit with myself and think about how I feel and write it out first before I react. I don't have to react in the moment. So I need to remove myself first, right? So, working out, a healthy lifestyle, learning how to be mindful. Even if you're busy, you can learn how to be mindful while washing dishes by working on being present, because a lot of times you're already working on the what ifs in the future, then you're not being present and focusing on what you do have. Bringing your gratitude, instead of focusing on your lack, focus on your abundance. What do you have? Those are going to be the most important. That's what I mean by changing your mindset, because we're focused on catching up, always being behind, focusing on a lack. But if you look at, dang, this is what I have now, right? I got up and went to work on time. This is what I did right. You are depositing good things back into yourself. So that way, when you come up against a task that is going to deplete you, you're not depleted because you've been depositing stuff back into yourself all along. A support system, accountability partners are going to help. You need someone that's going to help move and hold you accountable. Hey girl, did you call that therapist that I told you about? Or did you go look up and see if you can find a therapist on Therapy for Black Girls yet? You could do it. I'll follow back up with you on this time. She's going to get on your nerves, but they're going to get on your nerves, but they're there to push you. They're there for a reason. Let them utilize them. They're your lifeline. Utilize your lifeline. You cannot feed yourself. Remember, you are a plant, you are a root. So what's around you is there that's going to feed you. That you allow the people that are around you that are good to feed into you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. That's good. That's good. You mentioned support system.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to talk about the role of your support system and the role of therapy in coping, right? You're dealing with anxiety, right? You're going through all these things, you're experiencing all these unfamiliar things, and you have a support system, right, that you can identify. You have a therapist. Let's talk about the actual role of your support system and that therapist.
Which way? I'm trying to find a more perfect. Okay, here's the thing. My friends, we are. Each one of my friends see a different side of me. They see what they can handle, right? Yeah. So you know how to manipulate your friends. Yeah. You know how to say these things. And then sometimes your friends, they love you so much that they can hinder you, or they're not going to tell you the truth. Your therapist is there to tell you the truth. Your therapist is there to you threw up. That's what you threw up. That's what you ate. Well, that's what made you sick. You shouldn't have put that together. That wasn't a good combination. Right. Oh, really? It wasn't. It wasn't. But your best friend is afraid to tell you because you're going to go off and they don't want to deal with your attitude. And I can tell you, you have a nasty attitude. No one wants to talk to you from a place of love. From a place of love. And they're going to understand that. But your therapist can relay some things and bring back tools and skills, not from TikTok, but actual tools and skills that you can use to throw back and hold you accountable. And here's the thing. It takes away the fear of being judged. I'm not going to tell my best friend everything. She's not going to judge me. Even though I say, girl, I tell you everything. There's some things in my you don't know about. But therapy is a judge-free zone. And a lot of times, even for men, it's hard for you to say, okay, I'm going to tell you this. And then they end up taking on the stress of their partners or their moms or they worries because they worried about their baby. They worried about you, and you like, no, it ain't like that. I'm okay. And you end up more stressed because not only do you have your stress, but you got your wives, you got your parents, your sisters, all of them worry about you. And you just say, just forget it. Never mind, I'll hold it in. Right. But therapy is just for you. It's a non-judgmental zone. And we are here to help carry that or help decipher, okay, that's what you ate. Don't eat that no more. Let's work on it. Matter of fact, I know you're going to eat it again next week. How about we just eat a little less of it, friend? And that's what it is.
That's what it is.
It's baby steps. All
No.
right. And be okay with your baby steps.
Now that's what it is. Now I definitely appreciate that, and that's some really, really good insight. And I don't even want to prolong it, Kim. I think that was some good good information, good knowledge that you shared. And just, talking about these coping strategies and just being able to just build resilience, man. Resilience is key to a lot, man, because life is hard. So we got to understand that life is not going to be easy, right? As long as you keep waking up and saying good morning, there will be challenges that you have to face. So it's about being able to overcome those challenges. So we're here to help you overcome the hardships of life, the challenges that you may face, to be more proactive, because it's inevitable that you will have some type of challenge, whether it's a mental health challenge, whether it's an emotional challenge, whether it's a financial challenge that will result into a mental health and emotional challenge. All these things go together. And I think that, as we continue to come together as a community, build community, educate and inform people on, positive mental health strategies and emotional intelligence, growing personally is inevitable, and professionally, because what applies personally also applies professionally, And again, once you know these things, like riding a bike, you'll never forget it. So now when you have kids, or you could, if you already have kids, you can better educate your kids. You can better approach certain situations when they arise, because they will, right? You're gonna deal with a lot. And as I'm experiencing right now with a 10 and 6-year-old, it's a lot of emotional up and downs at just being a parent. That's if you're a parent, you got mental health issues, period. Listen, the highs and lows of that, man, then you got all these different age brackets and how they act, man. Listen, it's real. So we got to be real about that. We got to be real about life. We got to be real about everybody ain't rich. We got to be real about, we got real life happening. We got real situations that we got to grow through. And that's why we're here. We're here to put the necessary things in place for y'all, give it to you how you can receive it, how you can digest it, and how you can apply it to your everyday life. So with that being said, Kim and I will be hosting, facilitating a virtual personal growth semester starting April 15th, right? Listen, if y'all want to know more about that, if y'all interested in being a part of this actual personal growth semester, it's a 5-week session A is 5 weeks, right? And again, we'll be going over a lot. We'll give you the particulars, but if you are interested in attending and being a part of the actual personal growth semester, put an AU growth in the comment, AU growth in the comment, and we'll make sure we get that information to you. I know a few people put it in the comments on the Facebook page, but I don't have access to my Facebook page. So if you watch from any other platforms, if you already wrote it in the past on Facebook, head over to YouTube, LinkedIn, IG, Twitter, all other platforms, and put your AU growth in so that we can make sure that we get this information to you. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. I know Kim and I, we work well together. Kim is definitely an expert in doing what she do. I'm an expert in doing what I do. So together we here to make a difference, right? So again, if you want to be involved, and you want to be a part of this, please put in the chat AU growth, and we'll make sure we get that information over to you. Kim, before we go, do you got anything that you want to say to the people?
Y'all, please, I'm interested. Type AU into the chat. A lot of what we've been talking about, identifying the trigger, educating you. We have a lot of tools ready to give to you guys and educate you on the subject and to help you identify your trigger to grow through anxiety. I'm excited. I am a teacher at heart, and I can't wait until April 15th. So absolutely. Also, follow me at Avocations Counseling on IG or on Facebook. Interact with me a little bit. I'm excited. Yeah.
Absolutely. Y'all make sure y'all hit her up. Again, y'all make sure y'all subscribe. Follow Kim, follow Cody Motivation at Adversity University on YouTube mainly. I need everybody go over YouTube and subscribe and hit that bell to get the notifications, because we will be dropping all episodes dropping episodes Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. So we need an audience over on YouTube, because we're gonna be producing some good quality shows, and we need y'all over there. So again, if you watch this far, thank you. You're not a fan, you're family. I appreciate everything about you. I appreciate you wanting to get the education and information to just be better, to do better, and be better every single day. So, with that being said, I love you. Y'all be good to be great at it. It's me, Cody Motivation, and we got Kim Peek in the building. This is AU, Adversity University, and we out of here. We'll see you on the other side.
All right.
With perseverance to meet adversity, then success is right around the corner. You just gotta be willing to keep going. This is Adversity University. What's your plan? You gonna keep your feet planted, or you gonna keep your feet moving? And success is the next step. Now what you gonna do? Adversity University.